Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Show me Kathy Spiers. Here she is. A very good morning and welcome to the program. Kathy, who of course is chair of the Paraparaumu Raumati Community Board. Good morning.
Good morning, John. Good morning, listeners. Great to be here again.
Oh, well, lovely to see you. I'm completely confused because it feels like Monday to me.
Well, I thought it was Monday last week, so don't confuse me this week, John.
However, yes, I'm very confused today, but lovely to have you here on the program. And we talked briefly about Maclean Park.
Yes.
Last time.
We did.
And I must say, it's getting very well used, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
I went past there last evening and there was tents up, people having barbecues,
Yes.
There was crowds everywhere. It was so good to see. It's really getting used very well.
Which is what it was all designed for.
Yes.
And I believe that something's happening in terms of basketball.
Yes, the basketball court. Dale Evans came to our meeting in December and brought up the issue of the basketball going onto the road and young people running onto the road.
Oh, the balls themselves.
Yeah, the balls
right.
themselves, yes. So Council's been monitoring that. But however, Councillor Bernie Randall and Guy Burns were down Paraparaumu Beach last week and took a photo of, the ball's still going onto the road and young people popping onto the road. So now Council's looking at making the fences higher.
Right.
So I popped down there myself over the weekend. There was a family group from Otaki using the basketball court. So I just had a chat and they were saying, and behind the hoop it needs to go higher as well because the ball keeps going over there. But it's a real safety issue and we cannot have sitting back waiting for an accident. So Council is now looking at making the fences higher to prevent the ball because, some young child, they don't think that if the ball goes on the road, they just may run. So Council's onto it now, so that's really good.
The other thing, of course, is that the westerly winds, which are quite prevalent, they would tend to take the balls anyway.
Absolutely, because I went down there when it was really, really windy to see what was happening, but of course there was nobody on the basketball court, and I thought, they've obviously known it's too windy as well. But it's great, there's lots of young people and children down there and families, which is really good. But we're still waiting to hear when we're getting our piece of art work down there. I've been asking for a while. I haven't got any answers yet, so I'll keep at it till I do.
Indeed. I'm sure you will. Absolutely sure you will. Now, along the Waikanai River, people are looking for some convenience, I believe.
Yes, I received an email from the Friends of the Waikanai River to request that a toilet facility be put along the Waikanai River near the intersection of the Waikanai River and the Kapiti Expressway. Now, they've been asking for this since 2010. They've been putting in submissions, and now people going in the bushes and all kinds of things. So, and it's a necessity. And if we're encouraging people to get out and walk and cycle and do all those healthy things, then we need to provide a facility for them. But we need to work with Greater Wellington Regional Council as well. So I'm getting hold of Penny Gaylor today and Penny from the Friends of the Waikanai River to see how we can fast track this, because we don't want it going through another annual plan process. It's a basic necessity.
And it does bring up the point that, and we are having more and more walking tracks, I think, at the tracks along the expressway are just wonderful. They are.
However,
with all of those active pathways, we do need the infrastructure, which includes toilets and it includes seats, doesn't it?
Absolutely includes seats. And there's also been a request for a toilet at Macaroni Street playground, because that's where the overbridge is and that's where people walk through as well. And seating, absolutely essential, especially for older people or young mums with prams with young children who sit down, have a rest. So we've got to make sure that these and the community boards does have a yearly grant for seats in our area, but also people, they can purchase a seat and have it there in parks. And have their logo on it or their name on it and embroidered in it. So
now these seats are very important because it means that older people, and in fact anyone of restricted mobility, can go further and therefore get more health benefits. And
absolutely,
I remember I was having a chat to a young person and they said, I can just sit down beside the path, can't they? And I said, you'll get to the stage when you realise that getting up from sitting on the ground is no mean feat.
No,
so
that's right.
So that doesn't work out very well. So yes, seats very, very important indeed.
Yes. And as a board we must look at that as well, because we're in this financial year and I'm not sure that any seat has been put in place. So, but we have been out to the community before and said, well, where would you like one?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I'll put the word out now and say if you think of a spot where we need a seat, we'll just get in touch through
Right.
council and let us know.
Be like Oliver and put your plate up.
Yes.
Too right. We have a nice young lady called Renee Cooler come in and see us quite often here on Beach FM. And I believe she's paid you a visit as well.
Yes, the community board met with her last week, and the pandemic is the highest risk, which but that's the health Ministry of Health and the HB sort that out. But the next risks are earthquakes and tsunamis. So Renee is wanting the community board to be more active and get out into the community because the three issues are water, resilience, and the Blue Line project.
What's that?
That is where they put the blue line down. We have to get in touch. We're going to be holding public meetings and getting in hold of we need to make a plan moving forward of how we're going to engage with our communities. It's putting a blue line across the road, like on Kapiti Road, there'll be a blue line, and that's where the estimated or whatever line is, where if there was a tsunami it would go. And I said, well, I hope you've told the sea or the water that there's a blue line here.
Yes.
But it's best guess. So, but some people don't mind the blue lines and other people don't like it, but I believe they do have some over the hut, Renee was saying, but that needs to be community led. So that, but it's also a reminder that, there could be an earthquake, there could be a tsunami. So have you got, your bag ready?
Yep.
Have you got 20 litres per person per day? Have you got a water tank on your property? And all our food comes from the north. So we need to be mindful of that. Even though we've got Transmission Gully, that's not where our food comes from. It comes from the north. So we need to be a bit more aware of when earthquakes or if there's a tsunami, that we can look after ourselves first, then look after our neighbours, and then move on. So that's it's a big task, and it's going to take a little while to put together. But we're just in the early stages of. But also to encourage the community board to give grants for water tanks. We've got our hubs over the district, and the schools have got a couple of tanks. But then there's the issue of who's going to look after it and who's going to maintain it. So the idea was to have a MOU with people, but our hubs definitely need water tanks.
Right. You astonished me when you talk about that 20 litres per day per person.
Per person per day.
Which makes those tanks actually really important. I was just thinking, I've got the bottles stored in the shed.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that we're covered for quite a few days. But really, that tank, I think it's $100 and something dollars.
Council's got them 200 litres for $105.
$105,
yes.
And in two colours, I believe. So there's a grey and a sort of a creamy colour. I've sorted out the position, but I haven't quite got round to putting the thing in yet. And it is something that's really important, because water is the elixir of life. Look at what's happening in Australia right now.
That's right.
It is the elixir of life, and that is really the most important thing in an emergency.
Water, absolutely. Yeah. Water is. Yes, I'm like you. I've got, half a dozen bottles or so, big bottles, but they're only, 3 or 4 litres each.
Yeah.
And, they'd go in a lot. They'd go in probably a day. But that is the bare minimum.
The bare minimum, 20 litres?
20 litres, per person
Goodness
per day.
Me.
So that's, if we were out, couldn't get any services for 7 days, that's quite a lot of water. And that's just water. So we need to ensure we've got our food supplies as well.
We absolutely do. Well, fascinating, and perhaps we'll hear more about that in the future.
So I just thought I'd flag it now that the community board will be proactive in looking at that. And we may, because we're starting, and I'll let you know next week, the dates and where we're at for the beach bylaws. So we'll start handing out things around this community resilience.
I just had a look up the website. Still not, obviously.
It's still not on there.
Well, not that I can see.
Well,
anyway.
I better get on to them.
Certainly not on the front page.
Persistence beats resistance. I better get on to them.
You will persist, I'm sure about that. It's lovely to see you. That's Kathy Spiers, Chair of the the Paraparaumu, get it right, John. Paraparaumu Raumati Community Board. Kathy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, John.
106.3 Beach FM.